Let's start, friends, with divine guidance from Brahmarshi Pitama Patriji, Mahavatar Babaji. Let me just share the... With divine guidance from Brahmarshi Pitama Patriji, Mahavatar Babaji, and all the divine masters, Ramtha Master, let's start this beautiful meditation. First, let us relax. Please be seated in a comfortable position. Remove your spectacles. Cross your legs, feet, hands. Clasp your hands. Close your eyes gently. Now first, let's relax the body. Let's go part by part of the body. And then relax those parts of the body. Let all the tension and stress just not be there today for some time. Head region is relaxed. The forehead is relaxed. My neck region is relaxed. Shoulders are relaxed. My back is relaxed. My chest and my upper back, upper torso is completely relaxed. My stomach is relaxed. My hip is relaxed. My thighs, calf, feet, sole, everything is completely relaxed from top to bottom. My whole body is relaxed and relaxed and relaxed. My head region is completely relaxed. My neck is relaxed. Shoulders, upper back, middle back, lower back. Every portion of my back fully relaxed. My chest and stomach are completely relaxed. My hips, hands, legs, everything is completely relaxed. Make the out breath longer every single time you relax, like you've just completed a running race. Slowly make it longer, so you'll feel a deep relaxation in your body. Now let's move to the Anapanasati meditation, where you will just watch your breath and keep watching your breath. If your thoughts move away from your breath, just gently bring it back to the breath without getting irritated. Let that be a natural process of continuously coming back to the breath. Now, masters, slowly at the count of 5, keep your palms on your eyes and open your eyes gently with a beautiful smile. Okay. So today we will start with chapter 5. And Bindu, I think the question you asked is majorly um, there in the chapter 5 itself. Today itself, probably we will start that. And then I also want to share some information which may not be here in this book, but it really greatly helps us to understand a lot about ourselves. Okay, so without further ado, let's just go to the chapter and then I'll share more details there. Okay, so chapter 5, Earth's fall from grace. Earth was a free will planet with millions of higher dimensional consciousnesses incarnating onto her. What occurred a few million years into her experiment was something we could never have imagined. We have called this moment in Earth's history as Earth's fall from grace. Earth descended from the fifth dimensional field down to the third dimensional field. It was a very slow, meticulous process that occurred over millions of linear years. See, it happened over a long time. And when something slowly happens like that, nobody would actually see that fall because it did not literally fall very quickly. Okay, it took a long time for it to actually fall. They say, right, if a there's a water pot, and then you put a frog inside it, and you slowly start heating that pot, the frog won't even know actually that the pot is getting heated up. If you put a pot in a hot water, then it will basically die. But they say that the experiments have conducted, they say that slowly, if you start heating, it will actually not even realize that the water is becoming hot. Okay, so that is the way this also happened. How Earth shifted into third dimensional field, which is where we all are. There are 7 key reasons for Earth's descent from 5D field to 3D field. See, yesterday we also learned the body differences between the 5D person and the 3D person, right? The way the human structure itself was totally different. The what do you say, some of the even the reproductive organs were completely different and all that we saw. So how did suddenly jumping into 3D change the structure itself of a human body? You can all question about that. So for that I also have a lot more explanation which may not be here. I will talk about it. So these are the 7 points which this book talks about: the variety of beings entering human forms, free will, access to the quantum field, the role of ego, the physical form's ability to anchor lower dimensions, the design of 4D races, the human form's frequency impacting the Earth's frequency. Now let's visit each one of them. The variety of beings entering the human forms. And we know that many people until the 40th dimension, basically they enter the human realm. One of the unique aspects of Earth's experiment was the ability for higher dimensional consciousnesses to incarnate into forms on the Earth plane. This ability was perhaps the most significant reason for her to shift down into the third dimensional field. Thousands of different higher dimensional consciousnesses entered the 12D grid. Their frequency ranged from 6D to 48D. They could each create and intend their realities. Once inside the grid, they had the free will to choose whether to incarnate onto the earth plane or not. See, the grid was, earth plane was there. It was in the 5D. Okay, earth was in the 5D. They could enter the grid, okay, until the 12D, because earth was possibility for earth to grow was until 12D in that experiment. So they had created that big, huge perimeter, right? So now they all entered the perimeter and then they closed the gate of the perimeter. Okay, let's call it the fencing. Okay, they closed the fencing, and after that, these people could basically experience within the 12D, or they could enter the grid. They could enter the earth plane. So they were free to choose whether to incarnate or no, or just stay inside the 12D. Free will. The second pivotal reason for the fall of the third dimension was free will. All HTC that incarnated into human forms have free will. They could create any reality within the 5D without interference. We could not manipulate, stop, or control any HTC. HTC's creation once they entered into human forms. We had to let everything play out on the earth plane. This was one of the most challenging aspects for us. We had to allow and watch as Earth and humanity begin to shift down into lower dimensional fields. We had to honor the free will. Okay, I'll talk more about that shortly. Accessing the quantum field. The third pivotal reason for the Earth's fall into third dimension was the humans' access to the quantum field. The 12D, the 12D and the higher dimensional consciousnesses within the grid were in the quantum field. The earth plane and all humans on the earth were in the quantum field. Okay, so these people had access to the quantum field. The 5D people where the fifth dimensional field was in a high enough frequency that all humans had access to the quantum field that we already discussed yesterday. They had access to higher self, they had access to I am present, they had access to everything within that fencing, 12D fencing. The quantum field holds all the dimensional fields. So which means 12, 11, 10, 9, everything. If a human has free will and can access the quantum field, it can create realities in different dimensional fields. To understand this, we want to remind you of how a human experiences consciousness and dimensions. So how do they explain that? HTC is energy. Okay, we are all energy. Energy is designed to spin. So energy has frequency, energy has motion. So it is designed to spin. Spin means what? Electrons are always revolving around the nucleus, right? So that is a spin. The spin of HTC creates its frequency, and the frequency dictates the dimensional field they will reside in. Okay, that we anyway know, that is physics. The dimensional field will dictate their experience and density. So whichever dimension they are in, that spectrum of emotions or consciousness is available for them to experience, and that density is also that much. If they are lower, density is more. If they are higher, density is less. The slower a HTC spins, the lower its frequency, the lower the field. Correct. We all, there's no doubt about that. And the more the density it will hold. The higher the spin, higher the frequency, higher dimensional field, and lesser density, which means it is light body. Every dimension is made up of a spectrum of frequencies. This spectrum holds all the consciousnesses that exists within that field. Consciousnesses here means all that emotions and experiences that they can possibly experience because of that density. Okay, when they call higher dimensional consciousness, they are talking about us, that soul kind of thing. But if they talk about consciousness, just consciousness, it is what is the availability within that field. The consciousness creates every experience within that dimension, ranging from emotions to thoughts to behaviors to depending upon whatever it is that is available in that dimension. The spectrum of consciousness experienced in any dimensional field is based on the frequencies within that dimension. The lower the dimensional field, the larger is the spectrum. I showed that on the triangle, right? In the first few classes, I showed the triangle. The lower the dimension, if we go lower, the thing is broad. Okay, that broadness is there, right? So that is why it is higher. The lower they go, the spectrum or the syllabus that they will get to experience is huge. The consciousness create every experience within the dimension, ranging from the higher a dimensional field, the lower is the spectrum of consciousness, the less can be experienced. So the more they go to the top, less number of experiences. The more they come down, more number of experiences. Lower frequencies allow for more experiences. Higher frequencies allow for fewer experiences because there is not much room for lot of varieties in that top. Every dimensional field holds a spectrum of frequencies. Each frequency within that spectrum contains a variety of consciousness that can create experiences. Think of a spectrum of consciousness as linear. Linear means something that is only available at that moment. You are able to experience. Now, of course, it's not linear, but this will provide a better understanding of how this will connect and works in the quantum field. A HTC that has split from the source will choose to move into a field, a dimensional field, by shifting their frequency into that field. We saw that. Even when he is higher or lower, he has to take a part of himself and then make that part lower. For example, HTC, let's say, maybe outside the grid. To come inside the grid, what did he do? He put IAP at the higher points. He lowered the frequency and then he made a part of himself called IAP, I am presence. And then he lowered another portion of him into higher self. And he lowered another portion of himself into something that can attach to the body. Right? So all of these things have been lowered and come down. So that is what they are talking about. He has to shift the frequency into that field. Based on that frequency, they will settle into an aspect of that field's spectrum of consciousness. So the portion that is there in that level, from that level, the HTC is able to get information of experience. Okay. It is like, imagine you have sent a delegate to Bombay. Okay, like an ambassador. Okay. Now India's ambassador will go to US. And that ambassador is representing US, India. And then whatever he gets to talk to the president, prime minister of US, right? It's all representation of India. So whatever information he gets, prime minister from India will get. So if prime minister has to get information from all the countries, he has to get to know about it from his ambassadors. He doesn't have to specifically all the time be in all the places at the same time. Okay. He will send his representatives. So like that, the HTC's representatives in each dimension are these IAPs, HS, and there could be multiple names at multiple different levels. Okay. So, but I'm just saying that is how HDC gets its experience, gets that information, gets that wisdom. If you do something, if you let's say you're chopping vegetables and you are in the present moment, somewhere in, let's say, in 20th dimension or something, if your HTC is sitting, it will get information of you cutting vegetables. Oh, cutting vegetables feels like this. Because it cannot experience cutting vegetables. You are a representative of that cutting vegetables experience for HTC. So you are more, you are more like, you are working for the HTC at a different level kind of thing. Okay, something like that. For example, a 5D fifth dimensional holds a spectrum of frequencies between 5.0 to 5.9. Okay. If a HTC holds a frequency of 5.5, they will find themselves in the 5D field experiencing consciousness between 5.0 to 5.5. Their realities and all the experiences will be based on the spectrum of. So imagine if there is a level like this, 5D level. Now there is a, if you divide that into half, okay, there is a 50% mark, there's a 75% mark, 25% mark, 10%, 20%, all that is there. First half is obviously 5D, 5.0 to 5.5. That's what they're saying. So if 5.50 to 5.5 is that. Now any consciousness that does not hold that frequency within the dimensional field will not be experienced. So if that guy is not in that if he is not in that field, obviously he will not get that experience. For example, lack is a consciousness that has a frequency of 3.0 to 3.5. Okay, we are all in that duality, right? And we all feel that feeling of lack at some point. Oh, my husband is not talking to me. Or let's say my children are not sharing any information with me. Or something or the other, some lack. I don't have money. I don't have enough money because, let's say, I didn't get proper salary this time. Or maybe I need to look for a job because, see, you have food, clothing, shelter, everything is there. You can make sweets, you can make, you can fry food, everything, all that luxury is there. but somehow you feel you lack. Why? Because suddenly your salary reduced, or your job dropped, or everything is still there. Money is still there in the bank, but you still feel that feeling of lack because we are in that frequency. We have now got a habit. It cannot be experienced by the 5D people. Greed is a consciousness that holds between 3.0 to 3.4, and it cannot be experienced in the 5D. All consciousnesses within the 5D must hold a frequency between 5.0 to 5.9. All higher HTC that wants to experience Earth would incarnate into a human body that is holding a frequency between 5.0 to 5.9. The human aspect is anchored into the 5D field. So, which means the humans' atoms, humans' electrons, whatever, this frequency of this body should be vibrating between 5.0 to 5.9 when they were handed over the body. When those people were given a body when they were adults, or they became babies or something like that, either way it was 5.0 to 5.9. All HTC that wanted to experience Earth would incarnate between these frequencies only. All of the experiences are within 5D only. However, if their body increases in frequency, they will go to 6D. If the body decreases frequency, they will access 4D, 3D and all that. So it depends on who is maintaining this vibration. Now, who is controlling that body? Now, they said free will and all that. Now, they've handed over the body. They've handed over everything to those guys. Now, all these new people have come, volunteers have come, and they're enjoying and all that. Now, how can you tell them don't do this? How can you tell them don't go lower, don't go higher, okay, don't go lower? No, I mean, you can't actually dictate terms, because if they create something which is going to make them lower, they had no way of controlling all of those things. You can understand, right, how tricky this situation is, where you have created everything and by law you are supposed to give them all kinds of access, and you have no clue of what all they will possibly do, because everybody is very creative. Okay, people creating atom bombs are also very creative. So that is what we need to understand. Everything in creation is basically a creation. It is based on some idea, some thought that they had originally inside themselves. And you have no way of saying that it is good or bad, because that was never the thing. Creativity is the characteristic of every single HTC. Okay. The human can also access higher or lower consciousnesses by choosing to tap into them, as long as their body is holding a frequency close to that consciousness's frequency. For example, if a human is vibrating at 5.1, okay, which is very close to 4, right? They can easily tap into and access the consciousness in a 4.9 to 4.6. So roughly 5 points this side, 5 points that side, they will be able to access, such as control or persuasion. So a lot of these control, and then power, everything is available in the 4th dimension. So they were able to basically tap into some of them. They have access to these new consciousnesses that are not in the 5D field. It's all a choice. Okay, it is available because they can slip into that also. The human chooses their reality from the quantum field by tapping into and holding the frequencies they wish to experience. So if somebody just wants to just drop in a little lower, just by choice, I just lowered my frequency and I went down just to experience it. And if I start liking it, I'll stay there. That was the thing. They began accessing consciousnesses in the 4D. They started to have experiences that were not available in the 5D, such as control. We never intended or imagined that the HTC incarnating into 5D would choose to experience lower fields. Free will and the access to the quantum field allowed for that opportunity. Okay, we will discuss ego. No, I'll just talk about some things that I have read in Ramtha. Okay, Ramtha White Book. Okay, I will now quickly explain that, or share those instincts. It is very nice. The explanation is very story like, so that is why I wanted to share it with you. So here what they say is, our ego initially as HTC, it was very pure, unaltered, no attitudes. And then we were all understanding that we are all in the now moment and we were unlimited, we were all connected to God. And that pure thing was there. Okay, that pure state was there. And we are just taking the thought of that highest level of consciousness, which is God. God is giving thought, and then you as a spark are putting emotions to it. Okay, emotions of whatever is available in wherever field you are. Some emotions you are picking for that thought, and then you are manifesting that emotion into creativity. Your job is to be creative. You are a creator, so you will be creative with that emotion. Okay, a person who is very joyful can dance. A person who's very joyful, who's expressing joy, can also paint. So how he chooses to express his creativity was very unique to each of these HTCs. Now, we were all like little children. We did not know, we did not, we did not know fear, we did not know judgment, we did not know greater, lesser, we did not know competitiveness, we did not know jealousy, possessiveness, and we did not know death. Okay? We were like little children and we had not experienced any of these things. Now, but what did we actually have as powerful thing inside us? Powerful drive to create. We wanted to, like imagine, I mean, take me only for that matter. I love cooking. Okay, I love to create something in the kitchen space. My children don't even ask me anything. Okay, they don't ask me, Amma, create this, Amma, chips, give me pizza, give me this. They don't do anything, they don't ask anything. But who is creating all these things and uploading on Instagram and all of those things? I mean, Instagram also did not happen because I needed fame or name or something. I wanted to just create, uh, put it somewhere where I don't have to put it on my phone. Instagram and Facebook or whatever it is was majorly an attempt to take it away from my phone and put it somewhere. That's all. And of course, eventually people also started to want those recipes, and even I wanted to those recipes. So I became creative, and every time I had issues with my own health, like let's say, my whole journey was majorly about my child's health, one of my daughter's health. And every time we moved into vegan stuff, and then I had only learned vegetarian baking at the time. So, and I had to find a way to make my baking vegan, and it was all again about experimentation and creating something from whatever I could possibly use as ingredients. Then after that, what happened, as I became a nature care practitioner and then started working with people and all of those things, I started to understand how the body works, what ingredients, and I mean, some amount of belief systems also came. This is heavy, this is not, this is good, this is bad, that kind of thing also came in. And then based on that, I could not give all these so-called bad things to my children. Again, I had to find a way to, let's say, replace maida with the whole wheat. And then something happened. Again, I had to find a way to replace whole wheat with, let's say, gluten-free grains. Again, I had to find a way to replace grains with grain-free. Something and all. I mean, who's creating all these experiences? It's my belief system. It's my fear, right? It's my fear. Through fear of not wanting to use certain ingredients, I'm actually creating another new thing. Another good dish is actually getting created. See how even with fear also we are able to create something beautiful. And like that, so many things I've created, not because they asked, because I wanted. So like this, everybody is very creative in their own respective spaces, whether it is dance or whether it is cooking or whether it is painting, whether it is even, let's say, doing bioenzyme and so many. I mean, you name it, sky is the limit for all these creations. So we were very creative. And that creation is so, that creative urge is so strong. And once you actually get that creation bug, right, especially in a particular space, your head will go there only. Like every morning, I don't even plan for any food. All that I go is I sit and then I stand and think, okay, what can I create something newly today? Something that I've never created before, something unique. Off late, it has been mostly very plain, but then I try to do some things at least on and off. Because meditation focuses more, so slightly all this has slightly reduced. Anyway, so what I'm saying is we are all very, that urge to create is very high. And to take some thought, of, okay, how can I, the thought is, how can I basically create a gluten-free cake which will actually maybe taste almost similar to, let's say, a whole wheat cake. How can I make, let's say, Christmas cakes equally cherishing, how equally rich? So this is a thought. Now what will happen? You'll put all your stuff and emotions and very high emotions and all that, and then you create a cake. So which is what everybody did. They took a thought, and that thought, from where it came, how it came, in what form it came, all that, I mean, that's a different story. But then that thought was taken, and then they had to express the emotion and then become creative. Okay, all that was happening. And everybody had equal qualities, equal, what do you say, skills. And somebody did not have less, somebody did not have more, all were equal. But as soon as they began to create, what happened? A competitive spirit arose within each of them. How? Now, let's say, now how do we have so many, let's say, even take cakes for that matter. Somebody would have created a tea cake. Even before a tea cake, maybe some mass would have been created like this. Then somebody's creation would have made that mask a little more neat and beautiful and all that. And then somebody's creation would have possibly made that more layered and with different tiers of cake and all. Somebody's creation would have made it more icing on the cake, different icing. Somebody's creation would have made a rose on the cake icing and all that. See, not first person did not do that, but we borrowed the ideas from another person and then created something better out of the other person, right? See, if you see, for that matter, every single invention that has always been made has been based on a certain problem that they saw. Now, if somebody invented an electric bulb, it was because they saw darkness and they saw a need to create some light. Wherever they go, they could actually take that electricity, and then if somebody plugs into that electricity, they should be able to get light. So see, this is how inventions are made, and which is what we are talking. This is what is it. And here, competitive spirit. How can I create something better than somebody else? I got an idea from them. How can I actually make it better? Like, for example, I recently I made a cake with besan and rice flour, but the idea was borrowed from somebody else. Okay, it was a cake that somebody else made, and then they had generally made it with some other simple idea, and they put orange puree into it, not orange juice and all that. So I took that idea and I refined it further, and I made it more neat, and I with whatever my baking professional ideas and all, I put, and I just made it more professional. My idea was not to be better than her. Okay, my focus was not to challenge her or be more what do you say, competitive about it. But that spirit of competition has naturally come into us. Now you can't even say, I can't even recognize myself when I say I'm making a better creation than her, but it has actually come into our thing, how we are telling. But as soon as we began to create, a competitive spirit came into us, and the thought of another's creativity, we took the thought of another's creativity and we expanded that into something greater, and we created something more. So Ramta says, why do you think we have so many species of flowers on our planet? Don't you think the need for only one rose was enough? Why did we have to create like thousands of different kinds of roses, thousands of different kinds of hibiscus? Why do we have so many kind of butterflies? Because one created a butterfly. Now some other man, what did he do? Some other HDC, what did he do? He saw that butterfly. Hey, why can't I make this butterfly purple? Why can't I give it extra wings like this and make it some more beautiful? So like this, different things they started creating after seeing somebody else's creation. And slowly, they started to develop a competitive spirit. Okay, this is what happened. And we technically became a competitive race in general. Everybody became competitive minded. How can I become better? How can I outdo the performance of somebody else? And my creation is not grander than their creation. So how can I create something more grander? Okay, all this kind of thoughts started. And the more they saw somebody else's creation better than their creation, okay, more, it was more beautiful. To my eyes, somebody else's looked beautiful. So I saw my creation less than their creation. But they forgot that everything was equal. They forgot that, let's say, Bisibelebath is also that same cooked food. Chitraanna is also the same cooked food. They saw Bisibelebath as a superior creation compared to Chitraanna. Oh, in this there are vegetables and there are lentils and all. In that there is what? Just one tadka maximum. So there is nothing much apart from salt and lemon juice. Like that they started seeing things. Okay. And then to compensate for the feeling of lessness, what did they do? They tried to outdo other people's creation. And the more they even tried to outdo other things, they saw themselves less than that, less, always less. As the more they competed, the more that lessness in them started increasing, right? And then they started more and more separation from God. Because now what is their primary focus? To become better than somebody else. But they forgot who they were actually truly are. Before they entered this earth's place, who they were like pure, everything was like perfect, everything was like, is a grand scale of God, everything is a creation of creation means spark of God. That they totally forgot. And they became totally separate. They forgot that, um, see, once they split from God, one amount of separation happened, but then they had the awareness that I am still God, but I'm separated from God. I'm still God, and these are my characteristics. That sense of loyalty to this starting point was there. Okay, but now they forgot where they actually started. Now it was more about the project that they were working on, creation. Okay, so separation from life and imperfection, okay, comes only when you see something as, when you are in that competitive spirit, competitive spirit, comparison. You feel less only when you see something you feel is more. And there is a more, there is a less, right? There is a sense of separation. There is nothing like this is also, yes, that is also God only, that is. So that was not there, no? So that sense of separation became greater and greater and greater. But in reality, nothing is greater. Everything is still the same spark of God, right? See, here you can, I mean, from my perspective, you can still see these things as more of um, as more of he did this kind of thing. But there is nothing, nobody to blame here. What did God, the void, tell the God who just got created, the void, which was nothing. Nothing, father, mother. What did they say to God that was created? Go play, go enjoy. They did not say, go there, don't go there, there is electricity, don't go there, there is fire, don't do this, don't do that. There was no rules and regulations. So technically, the sparks that went off had no sense of limitations at all. Like how little children are. Little children will just put anything in their mouth. If you see many Instagram posts, they're taking frogs and trying to put in their mouth. They're taking ants and trying to put into their mouth because they don't know. They don't know. At that age, they don't know what is actually happening. So this is what all our realities were at that time. So everything in that state of perfection eventually started becoming imperfect, less than perfection. Now, what happened? The greatest feeling of separation came when we started to attach ourselves with the human body. Now, human body has a limitation. First of all, I mean, now we are whatever. Before they said, right, it was an experiment. The creation of the body also, they took a lot of attempts to basically make it come to some point where they could invite people and then get into that body, right, and then use the body and move on. But this bodies thing, right, continue to evolve over a period of time. Bodies refinement continue to evolve over a period of time. So what all happened? Now what happened, until this point they were still aware that I am God and whatever, I am doing competition, all that was there. But at this point, when they were trapped inside a human body, what did we study in the previous chapter? The portion that gets inside the human body has no role to play. Like I think even Bindu sent that passage, right? It says, let me just read that once, okay? Where is it? It says, chapter 3. Oh, open. Huh. They understood that they would be observers and not active participants. Once in the form, they could not actively lead the human life. Right? That is what? There was a limitation. That means the one that got attached to the human body had no control over anything. The control was, and the directions and everything was coming from the higher self. Okay, that was the understanding. But now what happens? Once that portion got inside the body, attached itself to the human body, there was more challenges now. What are the challenges? You had to accept that you are trapped into a form that may not be as efficient as you are. Correct? So if you are used to driving a motorcycle, or let's say a scooter or something, and then when you go take a cycle and start driving, what happens? You will feel like, oh, I'm actually going so slow, I'm going so slow, and then you'll feel like why things are not moving at all. Or if you're walking, you feel that you're really walking very slow, but if I had taken the scooter, I would have gone faster. So this feeling of comparison came, that I am limited inside this body and not able to perform. Like, you have ideas in your head, right? The higher self also, for that matter, it has ideas in the head to do this, to do that, chuck, chuck, chuck. Their potential is far huge compared to that body. But once they went into the body, they could not make it do many things that they could actually do by themselves. The idea was fast, the idea was more efficient, but the body was not still developed enough to basically do all those things. So they felt trapped in the functions of this body, such as even hunger, cold, survival, food, all those things, okay, also came. They had to go find food. They didn't know how to find food. They didn't know what was food. At some point, they didn't know what was actually happening in the body. What is his mouth? What is his hand? They had to still explore every single thing. They went into a body, but they still had to understand how to use the body, right? So all that. So they had to, it was a struggle. Each person struggled differently. Each person's way of understanding the body was different. Now what happened? You were now a higher dimensional being that was sort of married into a lower form of mass, a mass of flesh. And that flesh, that eventually became an altered ego. That eventually created an altered ego. Altered ego means I am God. That is my ego. The state of identity was I am God. But now you became less, no? Now that lessness, they have to work with that lessness. They have to work with a limitation. So that limitation created an altered ego, which means if I come out of the body, I'll be this person. If I go into the body, I'll have to less myself and work with these limitations. Right? You understand what I'm saying? So, like how when we go to somebody else's house, we sort of adjust. But then when we are in our house, we are bindas. We do whatever we want. We sleep whenever we want. We eat whenever we want. But if when we are in their house, their timings and other things we follow. So something like that also happened, and it created what actually is what we have in terms of altered ego. And this was born at that time. It was not created, it was born. Okay, our real ego sort of changed its identity. And it was the experience of emotions of fear, competitiveness, and jealousy. Now that got recorded into our cellular structures. The body also started recording these informations, because each cell is also capable of what do you say, working by itself. So it has a self-healing mechanism, self work and all is body does, right? So all that body also started recording all these things in its programming, and then the soul that was inside it also now was all in that state. And all of these limitations, that the body could not do something, I could not do something, and then fear. Why did this fear happen? Why? Competitiveness anyway was there, jealousy was anyway there by that time, and then fear also started. Why? Because at the time, you should also understand that death, they had not known death, but they were slowly beginning to understand death. What is the meaning of death? They understood. uh, for example, let's say I create a plant, and the way this earth was designed was food chain concept was anyway designed at that time, because like um, there had to be a certain limit that, like resources had to be well managed, self-sustaining. Earth had to become self-sustaining, no? So now there were plants, and there were animals eating the plants, and so some of these plants were actually growing by themselves because of sun and all of it. So there were all these structures that were there. Now let's say I created a plant. Okay, GFOL did not create everything. Some basic things they created, but then based on the knowledge of, oh yeah, this tree, no, yeah, I can create my own tree, something like that. Okay, ideas were already there, and they built upon that idea, right? That is what I'm talking about. Now let's say I created a plant, and then you created a goat. What happened? Your goat came and ate off my plant, and how should I feel? With lots of love, I created my plant, and then you, with lots of love, you created a goat. But technically, goat has this, I mean, they have designed animals to eat plants, they have designed all, technically everything is actually happening. Now goat came and ate that plant, and I felt threatened by it. I felt that I should create a plant that this goat cannot eat, so I'll put thorns on my plant, right? So this is what started happening, competition. Now gods who created the plants, whatever, right, they saw to their horror that whatever they created was actually eaten away by a goat, and it became a goat. Okay, that energy of the plant became the goat energy. So the animals would then, so some animals would be food for another animals. Then what they also saw was, if, and it became very humiliating for them to see that one's creation, which created was so much of love, was eaten away by somebody else. So it was more of I'm more superior than you. See, I created such a great thing which can actually eat away your creation and then kill your creation, which means like destroy your creation. It was more that altered ego had already started, right? So this I'm inside this human body, and I can create a creation which can actually outdo what you did. So this actually became so huge over many millions of years. Okay, imagine every day, all these things happening. How much lost you'll get. And on top of this, what happened? Worst case, man as a human being itself, man was also still getting perfected. Now, what was the perfection? Which, let's say, for example, lion came to attack me. Lion is now attacking me because even I'm an eatable, no, so edible thing. So lion is now attacking me, but my legs are not fast enough to move, because they did not think that I should run faster. So what did they do? The lion ate away the body of the man. And I am the one who created this lion. My lion only ate me only. So what did they start to do? They started to, of course, improve the body of the man. They knew that, right? I can create my own limbs. I can, that second part of the DNA's characteristics and all that was anyway customizable, right? So they started customizing their own body, and they created agile people with agile legs, hands, something and all they created. I mean, people became more refined, and everything was sort of um, so the human body also started getting refined like this, and that is when they realized that my body is dying, my body is getting killed. So this whole process of get outrunning something which can kill me has been happening since millennia. Today, what are we outrunning? Tell me. We are outrunning disease. We think that some cancer is going to kill me, something else is going to kill me, because we don't have lions and tigers anymore, right? So we have already done that. So we don't have lions and tigers. We have now other things to kill us. What other things can kill us? Maybe alcohol can kill us. Maybe eating too much of, let's say, fast food can kill us. All of these things have come into our reality because some guy ate fast food and he died. Or rather, it came into your reality that somebody ate fast food and he died, or somebody drank alcohol and they died, or somebody jumped into a well and they died, or somebody jumped off a cliff and they died. They broke their bones. Something, I mean, your idea of death became very creative there as well, right? So we have always been running since at that time to keep our bodies safe. And who's keeping our body safe? Our altered ego. This altered ego is now trying to keep us safe by outdoing. So now what are we saying? I'm going to outdo cancer by maybe taking chemotherapy. I'm going to outdo cancer by creating chemotherapy drugs, which is going to kill that cancer cells. Because microscopes showed me that there are these some other cells and all that, some other microbes or whatever. Now I'm going to create something that is going to kill off these things. I'm going to create a vaccine that is going to kill some other bacteria that came to infect me. So we have been since then running every single time from death. And we, as higher dimensional consciousnesses, every single time what happened, we've got hooked with this with this with this whole process of creation, right? Like, let's say, for example, I was running from a lion and then lion ate me off. Now somebody else's lion ate me. Now, what is going to be your next idea? I'm just going to immediately take a body and come back, and I'm going to create something that is going to, let's say, kill that lion. So my whole agenda was to keep coming back, and keep coming back, because I have a new desire now. Every single time I have a new desire to achieve on this planet, on this plane, earth plane. Who's stopping me from coming here? Nobody's stopping. Nobody is saying don't come. Who's coming all the time? You are only coming. There is free will. You don't have to come. You don't have to be like this madman who's coming here. But you still are coming. Why? Because now you have a desire. You have a desire to go into that game and outdo somebody else's performance. Okay, now we have become very, very attached to this creation, right? We have been plants, we have been animals, and now we have to have a body that has dominion over this whole creation. We have a dominion over plants, animals, everything. I need to be the superior one. Like that we became. And then ultimately, our whole attention was to outsmart, escape from somebody else's creation or our own creation. I only created a lion. I have to outsmart my own creation, because lions qualities are lions qualities, right? I can't say, oh, I have created you. No, you should not come and kill me, okay? That will not happen. The lion will anyway kill you. So they had to outsmart escaping from their own creations, right? It became an altered state of their life. The irony was that even if they escaped from animals and all that, they could not escape from many of the survival issues that were also there on Earth. Harsh climates, many seasons, which was anyway designed on Earth to sustain herself and all that. No, so many things like this. They could not sustain some of these things also, and they didn't know how to outsmart all of that. They didn't know how to outsmart, let's say, a river, outsmart let's say a hurricane, all of those things. They didn't know how to do some of the, or maybe it's a harsh sun was very harsh, or whatever it is. I don't know what conditions were there, but then they did not know how to outsmart all those things. Now you feel more limited. You can do some, you try to do some things, and then that worked for in some cases. In some cases it's not working. Now you'll start to think, hey, what am I, what is my capacity? You'll start to doubt yourself only. Don't we doubt ourselves? Which is why we come into this manifestation, this, that, follow a process and all that. Why? Because we, what have people be telling, hey, you are god, you, all that you have to think is you are unlimited and all that, but it'll all work. But then are we able to do that? No, because we have so many doubts in our head. So all this were anyway there, right? Now all these survival issues became, fear of death was always there. Since then, fear of death has been there. Fear of death, they know they are not dying, but they didn't want their body also to die. Those issues became very huge because they became so attached to this body that they were always trying to run away from something to protect this body, right? So that protection mechanism came from this altered state of ego, that I am my body. My body became me. I identified myself a lot more with my body from then on, right? So apparently what Ramta says is, we became the survival and fear of death that eventually brought their bodies down. For whatever one fears, he will become. If I fear something, I will become the fear. And he says that nothing is more devastating than the creation called fear, for nothing can express life in its shadow. Wherever there is fear, there is no creation. Creation is love. Fear is the opposite of love. So people could not create anything anymore because they had now become more and more fear and less of love. The less love inside them had become less and less and less. So now, after they experienced death, their only reality was to desire was to continue to experience this paradise of matter and create more in this kingdom as an accomplishment, as for this ego satisfaction. My body died in the past. So this time I have to come and create something which my body cannot die. So this cannot die became really huge. Okay. The wanting to not die became very huge. And they eagerly came back to become better and better and better, to reconcile the lessness they had perceived in themselves. And the moreness that in their creativity here, they wanted to do more and more because they felt less and less inside themselves. And they became so immersed in the matter of this plane that they forgot that they were divine and immortal and became death and dying objects. Okay, so that is what it is. And the understanding of being one with life was lost. Unfortunately, in the designing of creation, even before the gods had a love affair with this plane, through competition and the thoughts of greatness and moreness, they had lost why they had eventually come here for. Because they did not know where they were going. So this whole thing about we being here for experience, and the whole earth, whatever earth wanted to do, whatever GFOL did, everything went out of their hands because they didn't expect one leading to another, one leading to another, one leading to another, right? Because future is unknown. Even for them, future is unknown. What each HDC will think at that moment is unknown. Until that creation happens, everything is unknown, right? So that is what I wanted to share, and that it's a very beautiful explanation from that book. Here it's not that clear. I mean, you will not get that kind of clarity, but because I'd already read that book, I was able to bring that part here. Now we'll read the ego structure. The ego played a pivotal role in Earth's fall from grace. When we originally designed the ego, the role was to keep the human form physically safe and alive. It was not designed to lead or guide the human form like it does in the 3D field. When the 5D human started accessing the 4D consciousness within the 4D field, the ego structure begin to take on a slightly different role. The 4D field holds a larger spectrum of consciousness than the 5D field, creating more experiences for the human. The egoic structure was unfamiliar with and never designed to navigate the 4D field. Okay, they had never designed the ego for the 4D, right? But they gave access to 4D. They forgot that they had access to 4D. They should have closed 4D technically, but they didn't envision that. The access was there, but they had not designed or tested the body for all of those things. It became more active as it attempted to understand and keep the human form safe within the 4D. In 4D, what is safety when somebody is trying to control you? All the things that we do to control, to protect ourselves from somebody trying to take over control is different. Something else and all we'll try to do, right? Like how they try to protect themselves, outrun from the lion, outrun from somebody else's creation, all that they now started to do. Keeping the human safe is experienced differently in the 4D field because there is duality in this field. Duality creates an illusion of polarities, good, bad. See, all that I explained now started. Experiences are judged, and there's an attachment to outcomes and experiences when the human is in the dimensional field that holds duality. Because there was access to 4D, all these explanations that I gave from the Ramtha book happened. Okay? Duality does not exist in the 5D. The 5D human does not judge or attach to any outcome or experiences. There is no feeling of bad or good in this 5D. As the human experiences 4D and duality, the role of the ego structure slowly shifts from keeping the human form physically safe to keeping the human form safe from uncomfortable, bad, or wrong experiences. Okay, now, what are you trying to run away from? The feeling of somebody outsmarted me, somebody's creation ate my body, those kinds of things. Okay, uncomfortable feeling, likes and dislikes, all of those things started. That is what you're now trying to protect your body from, protect yourself from. You want to now go into that comfort zone, be happy all the time. And you're trying to always run away from something that looks in the that is in the duality mode. When the human form starts to experience 4D, not found in the 5D, such as control, which vibrates at a 4.2 frequency, the ego structure becomes more active to understand the consciousness of control. Right? That is a frequency that emotion is in. So the sense of controlling one human being, another human being started controlling another human being. It has never felt the experience of control. The ego will, it has never felt the experience of control. The ego will pull. See, they don't know that they are controlling. Okay, it is still happening for the first time. So you're just doing it for the pleasure of it. You're just doing it. It's like when you may have seen this in babies also. Some babies will try to hurt the other baby and all that. They don't know they are hurting the other baby. They don't know they should not hurt. Then what do the parents say? Hey, what are you doing? You should never do such things. We have a sense of right and wrong and whatever. Does the baby have all that? They don't have. They're just doing it for the pleasure of it or whatever is driving them. The ego will pull the consciousness control into its awareness to understand it. So what is this control? What is the meaning of control? Now you want to understand. Now that is now coming into your experience. Now you want to understand and experience that consciousness fully. Because now once you're in the dimension, what is your job? It becomes more of understanding everything that is available to you. Once it understands the experience of control, it will create beliefs around control. The beliefs will provide the human an understanding of how control works, allowing them to either choose to experience control or navigate away from it. Both are possible. The ego begins to label, manage, and create experiences based on the beliefs. For example, if control feels good to a human being, the ego structure will create a belief around control that will allow the human to desire more of it. If I like it, I'll create more of such experiences within my reality. If the human does not like the experience of control, the ego creates beliefs around the control that allows the human to desire less of this experience. So at some point, we will have the desire to control, and then we will try to control other human beings. At some point, we will say, I'm done with controlling others. Let me experience what is not control. So somebody else will now control, and I will dislike the control. Abuse situations and all we've seen, right? So these are all situations where the consciousness is just trying to experience both the sides. Another experience would be authority. This is a consciousness holding the frequency of 4.6. It is not experienced in the 5D. However, once the ego structure begins to feel authoritative, it creates beliefs around it. If a human enjoys feeling authoritative, the ego will have to create beliefs that will allow the human to desire more of authority. If the human does not like the feeling of being authoritative, the ego will create beliefs that will pull the human away from experiencing authority. The ego's role in the 4D field begins to shift from physical safety to emotional safety at that time. Now, what happens? You are now not trying to run away from a lion. You are just trying to run away from something that emotions are now playing with. You are now playing with emotions and trying to escape yourself from those emotions of whatever you are running away from. As human begins to choose to experience more 4D, their body will start to hold more 4D frequencies in their form, more 4D belief systems, more 4D emotions, all that. Now they are now slowly, the more you tap into that frequency, the more you tap into that dimension, you will go more and more into that dimension. It is not necessary that tapping will take you only higher. Tapping can take you lower also, and anchoring can make you lower also. So the ego will become more active while the higher self will become less prominent. Because you're not listening to your higher self anymore. The more you go lower, 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 higher self is accessible very, very clearly from 5D. But as you go lower, lower, higher self is not available so much because it's far. The thing is far. They hear and follow the ego more than the higher self. Instead of the higher self dictating and guiding the human being, the ego structure begins to lead the human being through the 4D. We watched as the humans began to separate from higher self. They allowed the ego to guide them through their denser consciousness. As the humans continue to choose to experience these 4D consciousnesses, they eventually began to anchor into 4D, which they did not expect at all. We had no idea the human form could or would anchor into lower dimensional fields also. It came as a surprise, and it came over millions of years. Not just overnight. It happened over millions and millions of years. But ultimately, this happened. Today, in retrospect, if you're able to look at that as a story, understand, do a post-mortem of this whole thing. What exactly happened? Let's come to a table and sit and discuss what happened. Then when you bring all that memory together, you're able to see that, oh, actually this happened, this happened, this happened, and then this happened. Right? So this is what. So now we will stop here. And if you have any questions, you can ask. So was it heavy today? I was thinking, how will I explain this? Yeah. I mean, there is a lot more to, because we are now going to discuss about ourselves, right? So there's a lot to discuss in the upcoming chapters. Sorry, I think you don't have access to unmute yourself. Yeah. You can unmute yourself. Where is our question queen? Sangeeta, no questions today?
No. There are questions, but then I thought
you're able to answer
for this topic specifically. Like today we were discussing HTC, that when it is energy, it spins and has frequency. That HTC, a part of HTC is IMP, another part is higher self, and another part is what is attached to the body. Is it also possible that one HTC attaches itself to more than one bodies? For example, maybe twins. They might have a common higher self.
Twins are two souls.
Two separate.
Including conjoined twins.
But they have some common things.
They have a common body. They have a common.
No, they have separate bodies.
Conjoined twins have one body, right?
Okay.
Let's say they are joined like this. Okay. Here, recently Asha had forwarded some article. in that article, what it said was, they have a common body like this. This person is now, let's say, experiencing TB. This person has no TB. They're sharing a common body. Only head is different. This shows that this head has a different belief system. Their database is different, right? This database is different. So whatever they choose to experience from that body, they're experiencing.
But in case of identical twins, they have two separate bodies, but sometimes their thinking patterns are very similar.
Yeah, maybe two HTCs may have discussed, and then they may have come together from a common womb and all that. And they would have chosen to go with similar characteristics and all of those things.
Okay, so not necessary that they have a similar, same higher self. Higher self is always separate.
No. See, there are in animals, for example, like tadpoles and group, collective, herd kind of animals, they have one soul for a group of bodies. But for a human level, there are only different ones.
Okay. So whatever we discussed today was very interesting. I just need time to soak that in. But I have questions to other topics. Maybe we give a chance to others.
Anybody else with questions from today's topic, or maybe past topics?
Smita?
Mm-hmm. You understood ego today? Your question was on ego, right?
Yeah, but I want to, maybe I want to listen again and see. I want to know exactly what is this ego? Exactly what is this? Usually what we think, we are like perceived ego as some emotion, right?
Ego is the way you identify yourself. It's not a thing or something. It's not a mind. It's a perception. It's a perception which makes you think that you are this.
Okay.
My name is Bindu.
So that is that perception is making us physically safe. Does that mean that?
If you say, for example, let's say you have some story about yourself. Let's say, for example, you think that, oh, I can't run a 100 meters marathon race or something. Why? Because I have not practiced. That is your identity, that is your perception. But you can run, right? So you now lessened yourself. So your ego is now trying to, now somebody will say, hey, why don't you participate in a 100-meter race? You'll say, no, I can't. If I go there, then I will probably fall off, and then I'll probably not be able to run. So it's now trying to keep you comfortable by giving you reasons why you should not be doing that. For example, or let's say somebody shouts at you. What will your ego do? How dare he shout at me? Even I'll shout back at him. Or the other, that is one possibility. Another possibility could be that you'll maybe curse him in your head a lot more, and then you'll go and lock the door and say, I'll not talk to this person anymore.
So this is like more of getting into duality, right?
Yeah, this altered state of this whatever ego that we are talking about is all duality only.
So how is it keeping you safe?
Safe means it is trying to protect you from some threat, something that it feels threatened about. Now some disease is threatening you, something that you don't know. Now how will you keep it safe? By you'll run to a doctor, you'll try to maybe eat some fruits or juices or something like that. You're trying to protect yourself, no? We are always trying to run from something else. That is what is ego's job. It's trying to protect you. It's trying to outsmart something else.
But that is not right.
How do you know it's not right? In this dimension, that is only right.
Okay.
Yeah, we will never even know that we are using ego because we are so much in that.
Okay.
Now knowledge is coming. But now how do we identify when we are doing like that, when we are connected to higher self, all that? Now that is, see, the knowledge is very easy. People will give knowledge. Every knowledge is there. Left, right, and center, we are getting knowledge. Now, anybody coming and helping us out of our own identification, our own at this moment, what will I think? That free will is still there with us, no? Nobody is trying to interfere in our lives. Even angels will not interfere in your life. Even gods will not interfere in your life. So-called Ramas and Krishnas will not interfere in your life because you are a sovereign. You are a free being. I mean, I have read that in there are certain I mean, lots of possibilities have happened, and then there are certain souls who have also earthbound souls, which means they don't want to go back at all to a place where they understand that I am a okay at a higher astral. After they die, they have to go to a higher astral, lower astral, and all that. Oh, so but certain people, they don't leave the earth plane itself. They'll say, I'll not go, I'll not go. And you can't force them to not go. You need to have a desire to go back and maybe come back again. But if a person doesn't have a desire to leave that property, leave whatever he's attached to, then they will not go at all. They will be called earthbound souls. There are plenty of earthbound souls. Now, if they have to live on earth, they need that energy to live on earth. So what they do, they go and then latch themselves on to the bodies of another people, where they suck that, like let's say you have a tendency of becoming angry and somebody also enjoys anger. They'll come into your body and they'll give you thoughts of anger and all of those things. They'll control. And then you'll get anger. You'll generate the emotion of anger. They will feed on the emotion. They will live out of that energy. And then they will leave your body and go. Again, they'll come back. So like this, many things are also there where they have learned to where they've learned to, what do you say, become parasites, because you have forgotten that you are a sovereign. So they have also outsmarted and made you believe that you can be taken advantage of. Because they've told, right, a sovereign has a, you, unless you are allowing something to happen, nobody can actually make you, rather hurt you or something. If you have now a belief system that I'm succumbing to all of these things, yes, they will come and do that. That was also there. So lots of such things have happened.
And in this this point, the variety of beings entering the human form. In that, they say that all the HTCs which enter the 12D grid, they can choose. It is their free will to whether to incarnate onto the earth plane. If they don't choose to incarnate on the earth plane, once they have entered into the 12D, what does they do? What do they do if they are not incarnating?
There are so many other jobs that they don't know. They can be, they'll be collectively as stars and star systems and galaxies and so many other creations also they've done, no, in the 12D. So many things they'll sit and watch from there, or they might be watching people who have already entered the earth plane.
Okay.
They'll just create, there'll be something else there. They'll create some other zones,
So
and then
actually they won't be as human form. They can be
Yeah.
anything else.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
they mean. They won't be in the human form. That's all.
yeah. See, today, whatever you're seeing as stars and galaxies and all, they're still within the 12D. But you're able to see it from Earth.
See. Okay.
But
So the
no,
12D grid is so big.
we see it as stars. But if you were in a higher dimension, you will not see that as stars. You will see the HTC behind it. Because you're vibrating at that frequency, you will see a similar frequency object there.
Okay.
Whatever is there.
So the planets also, what we see it in the 3D vision. So we only when we raise our frequency, then only we will know whether there is any form there.
Yeah. For example, today I sent a post,
forms there, different forms which we don't see.
Yeah.
Basically, because we are not vibrating in that frequency.
Yeah.
Okay.
See,
Nice.
next to me, a 8D guy also might be standing
Yeah, understood that. Yeah.
in the
The same
physical
space
space.
itself, the other dimension people might be living. We are
Yeah,
living.
it's just the frequency, right? We are talking about the frequency. We are not talking about physical part. In this physical, in my chair itself, an 8D guy might be sitting and I wouldn't know. Or maybe somebody standing behind me, I wouldn't know. Because it's all a matter of frequency. It's never a matter of physicality. I mean, it's a beautiful creation for that matter. I mean, it's a very brilliant creation. And there's also so many rules that can make things go in whatever direction. But I think if you see for that matter, we started off with a limitation. We started off creating a boundary. And then it was not the amount of freedom that we had outside the 12D. And then in the 12D, we had to play with only certain parameters. So that also was a restriction. So that is like a lower form of energy, in my opinion. And that eventually led to many of these things collectively. Like some energy boundary within your head will make you lesser, right? Outside the 12D, you are far greater. You have far more potential than inside the 12D. So you became lesser inside the 12D. Then that lesser made you eventually go more lesser towards lesser. And but in a way, if you had never known some of these things, you will never be able to appreciate higher ones also. I think in a grand scale of things, if you think, nobody can be able to tell that, but maybe the God who we all sparked from had always a feeling that, or maybe he always knew that unless we see the worst, we will never be able to understand what's the best. And the worst is to get to see something that he is absolutely like absolute separation in 3D, and then work your way up to find that absolute perfection. Because in every single thing we are trying to look for that perfection only, no? Every single thing we are trying to look for that God only. We are trying to look for that Sachidanand state, happiness state and all that. We are searching. Treasure hunt is going on. And at some point we will actually hit it. Maybe we'll hit 5D first. And then after that, there's a long way to go to that state. But yeah, I think it's very important that we had to come to 3D. Otherwise, we would have never even known that all these things are possible. Now we are getting down to literally to the ground. And now we can totally understand that we can go up. And we have actually come from a very, very many thousands of lives. We've actually done that. We've seen the worst. We've been the worst. And we've done the worst. And then at some point we have realized, okay, I will not do this. I will not do this. I've done this also. I've done this also. Now that I've killed somebody also. They have killed me also. Now I'm done with killing. And with the topic of killing itself, I'm done. Now I'm going to go explore something else. So like that, your people are just exploring each and every subject. Both the aspects. Now there is duality, right? So there is always be this side and as well as this side. Like they spoke about authority. I will be authoritative over you, and then I will also make somebody else do authority to me. So it's a beautiful thing, I think, where we are choosing to experience something that we will never be able to experience in the higher dimensions. And here even so much of physicality is there that we will never come back to that point, right? I'm never going to go back to a point where I was in childhood. It's gone. It's gone. All that innocence is gone. All that whatever little things I did where I did not have any belief systems is gone. Now I have belief systems that if I drop also, it is something else. It's a different state. It's not that state that I was in before. So that is why they say every moment is very precious. Be in that moment, because that moment will never come back again. Maybe you missed something that you will never see again. I mean, we are chopping the same vegetables, we're doing the same cooking. For us, I also find it's very mundane, okay, sometimes. I'm trying to live in the present, but the mind is not motivated. The mind is not finding all those things interesting anymore. It wants to keep thinking about something else, some other interesting topic, some other interesting song, some other interesting discussion that happened in the past, or something interesting that I told to somebody. See, this is what ego wants to always be jolly, have fun. So mind is always running to something which is far more better than what you have as of now. We are always trying to jump now, no? I told, right? We are trying to outsmart something else. We are trying to outsmart the boring vegetable cutting and think about something that is far more interesting. Like when you're sitting and eating your food, like there is nobody talking to you, food is not talking to you, everything is silent, like fruits are just there. Yeah, you can enjoy. 5 minutes you will enjoy. Let's say you're eating food for 20 minutes. 5 minutes you're enjoying. Yeah, I have to be in the present. I have to be in the present. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Oh, beautiful pomegranate, apple, blah, blah, blah. All that is done. Now all the talking is done. All the thinking is done. All the appreciating is done. Now what? Mind will run away somewhere else. You can't keep the mind there in the boredom place. See, this is a challenge because we've cultivated this mind for like, I don't know, millions of years. We can't stop it. We just have to live with it for some time. But yeah, while we are living it, why shouldn't we enjoy it? That is what is the idea now. So, I mean, so many things have actually happened that we have come to a state where we cannot be removed from this body anymore. We cannot go back to that state anymore. We have identified so much with body that we have to now take the body only up now. So it has come to that now over a period of time. So it's a huge thing. Yeah, but what can we do? Everybody is sailing the same boat. So it's not like I am different. Anybody else? Guys, Nalini, Uma, Manjula, Kokila, Gitanjali, Nikila. You can switch on your videos, at least maybe I'll read your expressions. No questions, or anything, any comments about what you're feeling at this time? How do you feel listening to all these things? What is your first thought?
It's very new for me and very complex also. I'm reading it daily, and I think I'm really very lucky to follow this also because it's very complex for me. That's what I'm telling. And I
We don't have
attended
to
the
understand the names and terms and all. We just have to understand the concept. That's all. Concept means, okay, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened.
Whenever everyone asks questions, I think how come they are thinking like this and all, because I'm not able to think like that itself. I used to
No,
think.
see, just think like this. You are here because some seeds are getting planted. At some point,
Yeah.
these seeds will sprout, and then, oh yeah, that day, yeah, Smita was telling this only, yeah, okay. So like that, it will come. For them, for many of them, these seeds probably were planted maybe in some other life, and now it is getting sprouted. Nobody is less or more. We are just in different parts of journey. That's all. Same journey, different parts. Nobody is less, nobody is more in this. See what happened when we thought we were less and more. Competition happened, and now we now think we're less. So now we should never see somebody and then feel less about ourselves.
Okay, okay.
Okay, that is a lesson that we need to learn. That it is it has, I mean, we have shamed ourselves to, even today we do that. When you look at somebody and then you say, wow, she's so good, her body is so good, this is so good, that is so good. We think we are less
Yeah.
than. We created this body, right? We created
Yeah.
this body, and suddenly you saw something else, and now you think your body is less. So this is what happened in the reality also when I explained about that creation part. Don't think that you're less. It is also God only.
Okay.
So then that
Okay.
feeling of empowerment will come. We don't have to be like people on Instagram. We don't have to be great. We don't have to, we can just be taking care of our children only and find joy in that. We don't have to be like public speakers. We don't have to know great English. We don't have to know all that. We just have to believe that I am also God, they are also God. A different expression of God. God can express himself differently. God can express himself as a beggar. God can express himself as a king also. But beggar is no less than a king. That understanding has to come from these books. Why these books we are doing is so that we can relate it to our life and then not do the same mistakes that our ancestors did. Which is when we are going to go back to where we came from, no? Which is when we can at least, okay, while we are in this 3D, at least let us enjoy with this borrowed knowledge. So catch yourself whenever you're acting like these people who are lost. Gods. I mean, what we should understand is in this whole, after this point, okay, after, Sonia, 1 minute, mute yourself because I think I get a feedback when you unmute. Do you have 2 devices by any chance?
Yeah, asking me.
No,
Nikhila. Actually,
Nikhila, Sonia, do you have 2 devices?
yeah, actually, I was watching on television, YouTube. Then I switched on to mobile, the Zoom class.
Then mute one and keep the other one unmute. Don't keep both unmuted. What will happen from one, the feedback will come to the other, and then I will only hear my own voice.
Okay. I've
So if
switched
you
off.
so then what? See, now I'm not getting a feedback because you switched off something else. So that's it. So this is the lesson that we need to learn in our lives, that we should never be like. See, I was telling that from this point, whatever happened after this, right? Whatever creation, whatever process happened after this, splitting up happened after this. This is less than this point. Okay, this point is perfect. Imperfection. All these are various levels of imperfection, which is what in Bhagavad Gita they call it gunas. This is gunatit state, which means there is no perfect, there's no imperfection at all in this state. From here, this is a guna state. And there is some amount of disturbance, there is some amount of imbalance. Various different levels of imbalances are there from this level, including body. So anybody after this point can basically lower himself at any point in time. Just because I have the knowledge, just because I have the awareness doesn't mean I will not slip. I need to be conscious of not wanting to slip. That you need to understand. Wherever you are, you can be Shiva, you can be anybody. You will slip if you are not conscious of slipping. There is no immortality. There is no what do you say? If I go to this level, I will never get down. That is never there at all. Okay, so that you need to really remember. To go and merge with God is a huge level of work. Awareness. Awareness of constantly like being in that state. Being understanding of what you are actually doing. Am I applying the knowledge that am I going in that direction, or generally blasting whatever I'm doing? I can be in any state. I can be 6th, 7th, 8th, in any dimension. I can make I can choose to get down. I can choose to just do whatever I want and come down. So it's all about frequency. You can choose to be angry and lower your frequency, or you can choose to be grateful and increase your frequency. And you can go to the lower level of from where you are. You can go to the higher level from where you are. So it's always a choice, and you need to exercise this choice every single minute. That is what this whole book is teaching us. You are empowered to do it. So choose to do the right thing. Choose to follow the path which actually keeps you happy, which takes you to that eternal bliss and all that. Because at some point, if you're really aware, the same earth can be experienced as heaven on earth. Today we need to feel like that. Today we need to feel like that for us to attract that into our reality. We cannot, that cannot happen first. And then I will feel happy. That will not happen. You have to first feel like that, and then experiences will come. Because you are the creator. The outside thing is not creator. If you are the creator, you should first do it. Then only creation will show in front of you. So you cannot expect anything in your life which you have not already thought of. You cannot expect happiness in your life unless you are happy right now. It's impossible. If you are in fear right now, you will attract fear-related experiences. So choose to not, I mean, you get lots of WhatsApp messages, you get lots of people telling you all sorts of things, trying to scare you. They're not trying to scare you, okay? Nobody is trying to scare you. You choose to scare yourself because you have a belief system that will make you fearful. And you need to catch yourself and say, no, I refuse to go into fear anymore. I want to go into oneness. So I will refuse that. That is going to make me scary. You can be cautious, okay? Cautious is okay. Cautious is okay. I'm not going to jump into the fire or something like that. I refuse to believe that fire is going to kill me. That is not what we are battling here. We are battling some mundane issues that we really think. Like, for example, let's say my child is eating a lot of chocolates. I'm in fear because something is going to happen to her. And those are fears that we are talking about. Or somebody will say, hey, this salt has poison. So it's your choice. Do you want to believe that some other external thing in your life has poison in it? And will you panic about it and say, oh, I'm not going to buy this salt from now on because some news told me it has poison? You've been using it all this while. Suddenly somebody said it has poison and now you want to believe that? These are some things you need to be wary about. There are plenty of things that are going to come into your reality to test you, whether you are in that frequency or no. If you have to anchor into that frequency, if you have to tap into that frequency, you need to repeatedly practice and be in that frequency. That practice sessions are going to come in the form of experiences. That is why we need to always be with that mind of, what am I learning? What am I learning from this? What am I choosing to respond? At least we need to try. I'm not saying we'll be 100% successful. Even with all this knowledge also, I'm not 100% successful. So what can I say? So I'm not great. I'm not saying that I'm this great person who should not flaw at all. Yeah, but I'm saying knowledge will not help you. That is why we need higher frequency. That higher frequency, tapping into higher frequencies only will help us. That energy is what is going to help us. My mind can play games with me. My energy will not play games with me. My energy will keep me in that state where my mind is going to listen to that. It's going to give me that at least sense of understanding of where I am kind of thing. So you need to always go behind energy, not behind knowledge. If you have knowledge, if you have intellectual knowledge, anytime your mind can get screwed and you'll not choose that knowledge. That is why we need to be more spiritual, more we need to work towards getting that energy at all the time and use that energy, and then be in that whatever awareness that energy gives you, use that energy, keep practicing in your life and keep going higher. That is all the work that we have as of now. So don't get attached to anything, because those are only going to be distractions which are only going to try to keep you in this place. And duality is such a strong frequency, which is, you'll only be jumping from this side to this side, this side to this side. You'll never even know that you're jumping from this side to this side unless you catch yourself and say, hey, am I taking sides? Am I saying this is poison and this is not poison? Even if you are like eating the best of foods, if you think something else is bad, you are in duality. So you need to watch yourself. Am I really in duality? I mean, even if you want to be not want to be in duality, also you have so many belief systems that will keep you in duality. So it will come. When it comes, you need to watch yourself. I mean, it's the pull is very strong, guys. It is going to take effort from our side, and we need to try. We need to just keep trying. We don't know whether we succeed. We don't know whether we'll not succeed because we are all deluded.
Okay.
We have no connection of our higher self.
Thank you.
Right? We have no connection of our higher self, and whoever we are is an altered ego. Now, who is going to come to save us? This knowledge only is saving, and that knowledge says increase your energy. That energy will help you, because at least when you increase your energy, you'll get closer to that higher self. No, then some intuition is going to come. They are also desperate to help you. Higher self, all the people in that level are like desperate. I wish they come a little more closer. I wish they come a little more closer so that we can just communicate something with them, just try to help them. How desperate they are, imagine. Because they are seeing us literally, when we see our children literally wasting their life away sometimes, how helpless we feel, right? That helplessness, all those masters have. Krishnas and Ramas and Jesuses and all the all those saints, everybody they have that helplessness within them. They have no way to help us because there is free will. We did not ask them to help us. They can't help. They only have to hope, sit like this, sit tight and see the movie like this. So it's difficult for them also. It's difficult. They are watching us wasting away. But yeah, we need to keep trying. That is the only thing, because they hope that we can increase our energy and come up and then communicate with them, and they will guide us and all. So at least when we are in that guidance, then that guidance will continue to keep coming through, and we can then climb from there. It's easier to climb from there. But when we are in the state of duality, it is very difficult to climb. We will only be going from left to right, left to right. So we need to push ourselves out from this duality first. We need to stop taking sides, even if we think that something is going to kill us. Never take sides. Try and see. Try to not take sides and see. It will help you. I mean, I am literally daring it. I'm trying to dare my own decisions and saying, oh, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to choose to think that everything is good. I'm not going to be fearful. I'm not going to forward something that somebody says is poison. I'm going to be thinking twice whether I'm going to create fear in somebody else's life. As it is, we are living in fear. Why do you want to create more fear in somebody else? By forwarding something. So this is what you need to be mindful about. Am I spreading more fear in life, where people are already literally caught in this whole game? Fear is literally keeping us here. So why do you want to keep people here even more further? Why do you want to contribute to that energy? So you need to be very mindful about doing many things. Don't even teach your children fear. If you already taught them, you can drop your ego and say, sorry, I was wrong. Don't fear. Teach them, it's okay. Show them how to think. I mean, literally in my house, I've contradicted my own self many times of late. And the more I'm coming to oneness, the more the way the realities have come is they do something that I wouldn't have approved of in the past, where I would be scared of if they do. Like, for example, my daughter was like trying to give me a reality where she would put oil on dosa. I have never used oil of late for whatever reason. Now what should I do? Should I say again, if I say don't do, then again I'm in fear. So I should think, How do I want to respond to this? Yeah, go do whatever you want. I will choose to believe that she will not die from that. I will choose to believe. Then what will happen? Someday, some point, she will come and say, oh yeah, I didn't like the taste of oil, so I'm not going to do it. When will that happen? Only when you choose to be in oneness. And then whatever is going to consciously keep you happy only will come towards you. But you choose to be in oneness. So you need to think, am I taking sides? Am I in fear? So it takes a lot of homework to self-reflect like this. We have so much to think about ourselves where we have no time to think about others. It's too much. It's too much of homework. Don't you all feel there's so much of homework in us? There's so much to think about. There's so much to do. There's so much to be aware. We don't know how, when we respond, how. That much at least we need to be able to catch ourselves. Then see progress from there. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do, guys. At least of all, don't try to create fear in somebody else. Try your best. It may come off automatically, but try not to create fear in somebody else. Okay, especially children. Okay, thank you, friends.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Sonia, what was your question?
Ma'am, regarding fear, like I'm stuck on 2 points. One, that since I'm mother of 2 sons.
Okay. The power was getting switched off, so I connected power.
Ma'am, I'm scared that my elder son is in US, so I'm scared. Could be one day he switches to drinking, smoking according to culture over there. He is a non-meditator. He doesn't read fictional. He reads just books regarding his course. So I'm scared that could be tomorrow I belong to my husband is teetotaler, my parents teetotaler, my brothers are also teetotaler, but I'm always scared. This thought is always scaring me at the back of my mind. What if my son goes and drinks or smokes?
See,
This
let's say you are GFOL. Okay, you are GFOL. What you sent, now there are all these people who have come into 5D. You sent, imagine that they're all your children. They've come into 5D. Now you sent them to 5D with very well knowing that they will experience 5D. Whatever spectrum is there in 5D. You very well sent him to US knowing that there are such possibilities. If he was drinking, he would have drunk here also. In colleges here also there are drugs. People drink here also. People do all kinds of things here also. If he was a person who would do it here, he would have done it here itself, or he would have tried it here itself. And if he has to try it there, he will have to realize that, okay, if I do all these things, my grades will drop. And then he has to see himself and his grades drop. And then he has to experience that not liking dropping from grades. And then he only has to say, I will not do these kinds of things. So unless a person sees the worst, if he has seen the worst in the past life, then he may not do it. But if he has not seen that experience in past life, and if it's his choice to do it this time, he will do it. But can you control it? You can't control it. But what you can control is choosing to not be in fear. Has that happened? No, you're trying to create that reality. Why do you want to think that alcohol, and there are plenty of things that can kill a person there. He can be walking on the street and some car can knock him over. Or maybe he can just skid from a snow and then he might break his ass and hit his head to some wall. Or maybe gangsters are going to come. Somebody can kill them with a gun or something. He may be in a class and somebody can get a rifle and then kill. So there are so many ways that a person can die or a person can suffer. So why do you want to choose to believe that he can do some of these things? Choose to believe that he will be happy, he'll be more responsible, even if he drinks maybe in a party or on some New Year party or something. He will know his limits because he understands the culture that he's coming from. He's seen people, he understands that they will not take people far. See, you need to trust the seeds that you have sown in these children.
Okay, ma'am. And the second fear I often experience is I don't let my children drive two-wheeler. Like they were after my life to teach them two-wheeler. I taught them car because I'm scared. Two-wheelers are not safe. But then again, I'm creating a reality by being scared. I'm not able to come out of that fear.
What you have to just choose is saying, for example, his name is Aryan. Aryan, today I made a decision. You have been asking me to learn the two-wheeler, right? Go enroll yourself into a driving class and then take those driving lessons, two-wheeler lessons, and then you start driving. In between, what you should do, you need to work on your fear. You need to say, it's okay. I'm going to choose to, because a person can die anytime. You can die anytime. They can die anytime. Anybody can die anytime. So don't try to protect bodies. And these realities we are creating. And I mean, we saw that in how Ramta spoke about it, related to whatever actually happened in the past. Now also you're creating, because you created that body. You created that baby's body, son's body. Now you want to protect that body. But you are not the protector of that body. There are so many forces that can threaten that body. All that you have to believe is, I have created that body, let that body enjoy. You can create different bodies at different points in time. How many sons you have created in the past? In some other body. Not as Sonia's, at some other bodies. How many more sons and how many daughters you created? God knows how all they died. Why this son? Why should you be attached to this son? So just go and tell him, it's okay. Go and learn. Believe that those lessons are going to at least help them be more responsible. See, on the road, when we learn, when we go to the road, right, it is not necessary that you should be careful. We go there with a unwritten statement or unwritten law that on the road, you can be very responsible, but somebody else may not be responsible. They can come and bang you. But you are going there very well with understanding that, yes, it's possible, but I will go. Because the possibilities of getting killed from an accident are very less compared to the possibilities that you can enjoy with a two-wheeler. I mean, you should understand that if they are they boys who will basically go to some kind of road rash kind of mode and then destroy themselves, or are they children who are mindful, responsible? That kind of understanding you need to have. If you are in fear because they are more that road rash kind of people, then maybe you are in fear for their life. But otherwise, you can just be calm and then help them be more responsible by giving them to operate within at least those driving rules.
My elder one is not careful. Like he drives car like road rash kinds. Younger one is careful. He's in 12th. But elder one drives rashly. Like while U-turns or any kind of turn, he's not careful. So I'm always worried. Even though
Has he
he's
created any accidents?
No, ma'am.
Then he is. That means you are not confident about his confidence.
Okay. Got it.
Leave them alone. No, how long can you control them? Tomorrow they'll be 40. You will be 60. At 40 also, should I get controlled by my mother? They will say.
Okay.
People need freedom. Seriously, I'm telling you. They are here for their life. What you are seeing in them, see, they are there doing all those things. But then what you are seeing in them is lack of confidence. Or, sorry, what is it called? What did you say? First one was rash, not careful, those kinds of things. So that is a perception that is inside. His driving is that driving perception is getting filtered in your energy field and coming and saying rash, not careful. But he is driving confidently.
Yes, ma'am. He's super confident.
Yeah. So you just let go of your fear and do something that you don't usually do. Try to enjoy that side of yourself, that side of you also. Why keep doing the same things that you're always doing? Do something that you don't do. Tell them something that you don't tell. Enjoy that side also. I mean, actually, it feels good, when you do something that you don't do, it feels even better than what you would feel otherwise.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, try.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, Sangeeta?
Yeah. Okay. So today morning, while writing my gratitudes, a thought came up, and I thought I'll share it. So every gratitude that I was writing, it looked like all of them are same. Like there is a template, thank you, somebody or something, which I can easily replace with God for a reason. And that reason, whatever that reason is, it boils down to an experience. So thank you, God, for experience, for every gratitude. And then I was thinking, by practicing this gratitude, we are in a way molding ourselves that whatever external experience we are taking into our human channel, what's filtered is only gratitude. So there is less chance for clogging our chakras because there's only gratitude, the positive thing, no matter the experience.
Yeah.
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 And that would keep us healthy. That would lead us to the path of unity.
No, it is making you who you truly are, which is a HTC. Because unless you become a perfect human being, which is connected to higher self and all that, you will never learn to become that God beyondness. And gratitude is a very human emotion. It's if you are God, who are you expressing gratitude for?
To the source
You
of
can
which
think
we
like
are
that.
all parts.
Yeah. But if you are only source, you are a part of that source only.
Then
who are you
gratitude to
giving gratitude
myself.
for? But we have not experienced that yet, no.
But we take
Technically,
it
we
as an
know.
assumption
Intellectually, we know.
that we are going
Intellectually, we
there
know.
in that direction.
So we are actually, we have to first be who we are. First of all, we are still in the duality, ego and all that. No, first we need to become refined human beings by practicing gratitude, by being, rather having the attitude of gratitude in all our life. That's why first we are writing. Then we need to also take it beyond that writing. It has to become such a habit that even when you're not writing also, it should come to your head.
Like footsteps and doing any action, it should come. So
Those
I'm
are
not saying
ideas
that
she's given.
because it's just one sentence, thank you, God, for experience, we don't need to practice it anymore. We need to continue to practice it so that we can stay human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we are like animals.
Mm.
We are actually acting like animals, and there is no difference between animals and us.
And another thought came that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, do your swadhyay with detachment to the result. And then if I'm cooking for my kids, it should not be done because I'm attached to my kids. It should be done because it's my duty as a mother, as if I'm offering the result of that cooking to God. And my kids are God.
Kids are actually in a reality. Okay, you are offering that experience of cooking to your chain of command.
Not just the experience of cooking, also the result of cooking, the food that was cooked, that is also being offered. Since everyone is Brahman, my kids are also Brahman. There's also part of God in them.
Yeah.
So I'm offering it to them.
Yeah.
Coming not out of attachment, but
see, there is no attachment there. No, you're just doing your duty. You put a lot of love, you put a lot of creativity. Now you offered it to them. Now, if they say, Amma, I don't like this, then what will you do? No, I did it with so much of love.
No, if I do that, that would be attachment.
Attachment means it's like cooking for your children is not attachment. But
Mm.
let's say, for example, there is one more child also you have to cook, or you have to cook for the entire crowd. But you feel that now I have to cook something differently for my children. I have to cook something less for somebody else. Because you do that because you are now attached to your children and you're not so attached to all these people. You're okay to maybe give them lemon rice and you're giving them a whole meal.
Mm.
That is because of attachment. But doing duty is not attachment. Attachment, you can understand when attachment to the results of your cooking is they should all appreciate my cooking. All that is attachment to the results of the cooking. Attachment to people is the fear that you have about their body, about them,
Of losing them or
of
them being
losing
hurt.
them in some form or the other.
So
You
attachment
always
to
want to do the
something would
best
mean
for them
Hmm.
and keep them in that same status so that you whatever you're getting from them, you'll continue to get from them.
So attachment to something would mean if that something is taken away from you, are you still fine with it?
Yeah.
So this definition was not that clear to me. Like yesterday also I was asking about this, that if I'm detaching with someone, I'm making distance with that person.
See,
But
detachment
that
is all
detachment
mental.
is different.
Detachment is mental.
Hmm.
You are not holding that person, that thing is not controlling you anymore. You are in control.
Yeah. So I can be a monk, but if I'm still thinking about material things and worldly things, that means I'm still attached.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm seeing these words in a little different
What
way.
is in control? Who is controlling you? Is the material object controlling you? Then you're attached to that material object. Or I am in control, which means that material object is not controlling me. Today it's there. I'm enjoying. Tomorrow it's not there. I'm still the same. I'm not missing it anymore. While it was there, I enjoyed. I'm grateful. Today it's not there. It's okay. It's a phase. I moved on. So I have a sense of detachment. Like Rama, they say he was a very detached person. He had the highest amount of love, gave everything was there. Everybody were there in his life. Ram, Sita, Lakshmana, everybody were there. Palace was there, everybody was there, but he was not attached to anybody, which means he was willing to go to that forest alone. But now others had attachment to him. Now Sita said, no, I'm going to come with you. I can't live without you. Then Lakshmana said, no, I can't be without serving you. So I will come with you. They came with him. He did not ask them to come with him. He did not say, Sita, I cannot live without you. He did not say, Lakshmana, I'll probably miss you, so please come with me. Today, Dasharatha came and told him, see, tomorrow you're going to be crowned the prince. He said, okay. Tomorrow they called him and he said, you can't be crowned the prince, you have to go to the forest. He said, okay. Just because he was crowned the prince, he didn't have the desire that he was the eldest and I have to be the prince. It is obvious that he'll be the prince, but he didn't have the desire. Now, when they told he'll be made the prince, it's not like he got extra desires. Or desire did not start from then at that point also. Because he didn't feel bad at all next time when they said you're going to go to the forest. He didn't have that attachment in the first place itself, which even the desire even did not start also for that to be removed on the next day. He did not reconcile himself. That was his state of being.
But he
It's a very high
rescuing
state.
Sita
Sorry?
but he rescuing Sita would be
He
attachment
didn't rescue
or
Sita
no?
for the Sita's sake. He had to rescue the world from Ravan. Sita was a medium to get there. It was all planned. And him getting to the forest was also necessary because the lots of sages in the forest were waiting for him. Ahalya, many people were waiting for the curse to end and all. No, he knew he had to anyway go there. That's why his attachment it was very less here. he had to, I mean, lots of things had to be satisfied as a part of his journey as Rama.
Sorry. Yeah. Understood.
Okay. Chalo guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm so thankful to Anita for the Zoom session, endless Zoom session. And I'm so grateful to all of you who are always willing to participate in these discussions, even after it is 5 o'clock. I'm so grateful once again. Bye. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.